And what that is and what I've kind of learned from it is essentially, um, yeah, I suppose to lay out the landscape of the gardens of which we can enter. And if we look at the toxins, if you want to say that, it could be the conditioning, thinking, to go with what is, a certain narrative, such as servitude and trade your, physical hard labor for time and then get paid. It could be trust the sources of public media. Okay, so it's like they're pushing a particular thing. And then the lens of viewing this is okay, well, if I'm being told to look this way at this door, and that's the way I see the door, but I don't know the other side of the door unless I choose to open that door, I will never know what's actually on the other side and what opportunities lie on the other side if I don't actually open the door or look around to the side or I go through the door or I go over the door, whatever it may be. And then we have we've the option to think, okay, by analysing that there is an unknown, generally there's a phrase that the cave that you fear to go in holds the treasure that you seek. And that can be put into this example where we have I would view a very narrative, narrow dime, so to say, view of the world, which is very concentrated and very straw-like, versus an expansion. So it's like this belt of contraction that people are around. Now, if we go into that quote of the cave has or holds a treasure that you seek, the seeking of going into the unknown with the intention of going into that unknown, knowing that you're going to the unknown, what do you think you're going to come out with? What do you think is going to happen if you go into the unknown? More than likely, what it's going to be is that you're going to come out of the unknown knowing what the unknown was or is, or what you completely missed and did not see because you expanded the reference points of which you have. And then the more reference points you have, the more meanings you can bring towards things, the more meaning things have. Okay? So if we look at this as someone with a large reference point versus maybe a smaller reference point, if we're to put it into a conceptual thing versus talking maybe abstractly to some people, it would be if we have a child, maybe they have like 500 words of vocabulary, okay? And then let's say we have a PhD person, okay, and maybe they're looking at, let's just say, atoms, okay, and this kid goes, whoa, there's little dots going left, right, and the physicist who has the PhD and has maybe 25,000 words or whatever it could be, and looks at this and he's drawing all this meaning from the exact same thing both of them are looking at, okay? So then it's like, okay, so clearly just by the vocabulary base, it allows that person to see more things because they have more language to describe that particular thing. So that's one example of what it's like to look on the other side of the door that you've not been invited to look at, or maybe you just haven't questioned it, or this is your invitation to do that, of what is on the other side of the door of things that are coming up in my life. Why is it that I just tend to look into something new and then I go, do you know what, screw that, I'm going to put down the book, I'm going to go onto the social media, I'm going to swipe, doom scroll all day long, and then I go, oh man, do you know what, I knew I should have done that book, I knew I should have read it, it's getting really good reviews, or that person's really cool to listen to, but I didn't go to their seminar in person. Oh, do you know what, actually, I'm just going to go down to the pub with the lads, fuck that, do you know what, like, what are they going to teach me? Okay, so there could be this ignorance, and ignorance is bliss. There could be these little things that are just pulling at you to bring you back down and keep you there, anchor you there, not let you express that curiosity that you do have inside, but it's never been encouraged to look outwards because your connotation with expanding and education might be, fuck, I have to do this in order to get this job. It's never really, I learned this thing, and then it allows me to see the world in a better place and allows me and the whole to get better. Because we often forget that generally the people that help the most people are the people that either had certain experiences, they had a depth of knowledge, they'd invested into themselves, and come from the view of, if I'm going to invest in myself to the depth of which that goes, it's going to have a direct correlation of going upwards. And it's like a wave. By the depth someone goes by a meter, they'll probably go up by a meter. By the depth they go down 2 meters, go up by 2 meters. Okay, it's the hole that they're digging of knowledge, and the more that they dig, the more they can fill into that hole. Okay, and then by the more they can fit into that hole, it's like, well, if we have the 25,000 word hole of the PhD versus the 500 word hole of the kid, it's like, what sort of value are they able to bring to people? What sort of mind flexibility are they able to go from that person that might be speaking on PhD level, might have a little bit of decent knowledge, college level of the subject, then it comes down to, secondary school physics, then it comes down to, the sun, the moon, the planets, down to primary school, and then it could go, I see the sun, okay? And this person over here, their flexibility to put the references of all the maybe complicated language they could speak in, to calibrate into each peg hole of each level of reference that those people have across those levels of education, allows for more of an understanding of the world. But also, if you recognize what's happening there, it's allowing them to open the keys within each of those levels by entering the world of the reference points of those levels. And if those levels are very limited, obviously you can figure it out, or a possible way you could figure it out of how to enter the world of the description is by knowing more about them. And then it's like, okay, well, that actually makes a lot of sense. Yeah, now that I think about it, someone explained this thing in a particular way, and it really helped me out, and I actually understood what was going on. And then you think, right, so this person actually did invest in themselves, and I'm literally seeing an example of this, okay? Then you might go to an entrepreneur, you might go to an athlete who've put in the reps, have put in the years, have put in the hours, put in the curiosity, had the time, had the intuitiveness to do that thing. And then you ask, well, do you know what? Well, that sounds like a worthy endeavor of which I could experience life better if I just did that thing of, hey, what's on that other side for me? What's on that? What could be on the other side of that door? So, I've came through a journey where my connotation with school, or that was not very much into my liking. It was very much sports. It was not the best connotation that I had, okay, with this education, and it wasn't me. If I like something, I'll go head deep into it. If I didn't like it, see you later. And you kind of find the beauty in that. And you got to ask yourself, what are you tending towards? What is it that you go, yeah, do you know what, that's been knocking at my door. That's been saying, hello, I'll come out to play. And you kind of ask yourself, what's holding you back? Like, what has taught you to hold you back from making that choice? And then you go, what's the cost? What's the cost of you not knowing that? What is it? Like, really? Like, what is it that's stopping you? Is it between the ears? Is it that, that stuff is woo-woo? Where'd that come from? Who taught you that? Who said that to you? And you believe that? Interesting. Why would someone defend a certain door and not have you look into it? Are they afraid of what you might discover on the other side of the door? That might expand you in a way where you can think better, be more supportive, be the better version of yourself, which collectively, if you look into that butterfly effect of you getting better internally, externally that feeds out backwards in your aura into the field. And if we're going to go into the physics, the world of universal laws, it's like there is an aura that's going to come from you, an energy elevation that will come from you from the depth of which you go. And we often see this. Look at Dave Goggins, how deep and fucked up he went to
being a pure example of the world, and this is what I want to show people is capable because I went through XYZ. That's a story. You have people that go through all the times in their life and then they express it maybe through music and how transformative that is. And if you calibrate the vibration of that music and what it's at, more than likely it's 500 or above. If you look at the original teachings of the, say, Bibles or whatever it might be, generally they calibrated those books before they got interpreted by different things and translations of maybe people that want to put their own power egos into those books, is that they were calibrated 1,000, okay? And if you know about Power versus Force from David Hawkins, you know it takes 12 people at 700, calibrated at 700, to equal one avatar or one person at 1,000, which is phenomenal, okay? And each calibration dictates the balance of the earth, and only 15% of people, it's either 200 or 250 on the calibration scale, are above that number, okay? So that means 85% are below. And if you look where that means the world where they are at, that is ridiculous. That's not a life. And for me to talk about this is an invitation for you and to open the doors of perception of which things you are perceiving, to have a newer light to view those. It's imagine a filter, swipe the filter, swipe the filter, swipe the filter. I can view this from an analytical brain. I can view this from a creative brain. I can view this from opportunity stuff. I can view this from I want to improve my life. I can view this from, I'm going to let the security self from this new information and what that may change me be down. I'm not going to have the protector self up. I'm not going to have my defender self up because that's naturally where people are at. Okay? And it's like, open this opportunity self within you. Go after it. Because realistically, more than likely, you're going to be better for both you, yourself, your future family, your kids. You're going to be able to educate people better relationships. You're going to not even comprehend how much better things are because you're not on the other side of the door. You don't have the experience yet. But you invite yourself and put yourself in that environment where the experience is welcome to come to you, then it will come. If someone wants to go on a date, they don't stay in the house, they go out and try and date someone. They go on an app, they go out and do those things. If someone wants to learn more knowledge, they go into a book, they go into a library, they go into seminars, they go seek a mentor. If someone wants to get better at swimming, they go into a swimming pool and have a teacher that teaches them the dedicated program of learning how to swim and not drown and not die. So, what is this saying for you? What is it that's knocking at your door? Identify it. What is something that you're like, holy crap, this is something that's been knocking at my door, but just haven't gotten around to it, haven't done it. What is distracting you? What is pulling you down? What is keeping you there? Is it your environment? Is it your thought patterns? Is it the belief? Okay? Because every meaning that someone has towards something, again, is different due to the reference points of which they have. It's exactly the example that I gave you at the start, is the 25,000 words from the physicist versus the child who has 500 words. The meaning of what they're looking at is completely different due to the amount of reference points. Imagine how much, if you increase your reference points, how much potential you could be exposing and capacities of opportunities that you could harness due to you expanding that awareness level. So the invitation is expand. Do not contract. Do not strengthen the belt that is around you and keeping you locked into where you are like an anchor. Go out there and seek into that cave and come out with the treasure. Now, take the action.